Here's something new for the golf cart. We put this big water tank on here. It makes it a lot easier. There's certain places where Cindy has to go and fill up a bucket and carry it. Now we can go to the location and fill up the bucket using the tank. And then you don't have to carry it a long distance. And some areas we can just use the hose to just directly put the water in. But when the water's up high, when the water tank is up high like this one, then obviously the hose can't push water uphill. We don't have a pump on it. So she would still carry a bucket, but at least she can fill up her bucket right next to it and then dump it in. What'd you say? I couldn't hear you. Claire leaves her window open for the cat to go in and out. And today it wasn't just the cat.
Goodness.
Come on. Do not poop on me. Okay. Now we just need to take it outside. This might be the same snake we had in the driveway. Okay, so we're gonna let the snake go out here. We don't mind having the snake around the property. Are you happy? What you gonna do now? The cat has discovered the snake now. I think she's trying to figure out, how do I do anything to this? That snake is staying stone still. I bet that snake is going to go really fast once it takes off. So I'm over at Rico and Monica's house. This is their barn. They had a very interesting way of doing a container barn. This one's going to be more used for animal stalls and things. So Rico got his roofing and it's time to put some on. So we've been out here a few hours. We've gotten a lot done. Surprised how far along we are. We don't always have food that we grew ourselves. We definitely didn't grow these ourselves. But tonight we have chicken that we raised and processed ourselves. This squash, which I'll show you here. You can see the squash better on my plate. Came from our garden. What about these onions?
They're Vidalias.
So the onions and the Brussels sprouts did not come from our garden. So more than half our meal. Here's some new sheep.
All the way back. All the way to the back. There you go. There you go.
There you go. All right, girls.
So the sheep were sheared before they came, so they're not quite as beautiful as they normally are. But they might be cleaner if you look at this one. Cindy says they're ugly.
Except for the baby.
Yep. Lambs are super cute. And they're actually pretty friendly. They haven't been as skittish as I thought they might be. These are eggs. They're frozen. You can see kind of a crystallized frozen texture. And here are the eggs after they're dry. Beautiful yellow. You can see they're all cracked from drying. Let's see what this texture is. So it's interesting, crystallized, and the straight up and down crystals are almost like when you get an icy frost that pushes the grass up or pushes the dirt up off the ground. That's what it reminds me of. And it's even deeper yellow underneath. This top got a little bit foamy when we were scrambling the eggs. The deep yellow is the real color. So it took about 30 to 36 hours to get these dry. Here's the chicken meat that we're doing. Pre-freezing it, sticking it in the freezer. Here's the chicken after it's dry. It's very lightweight. That's one of the good things about freeze drying is it's just so lightweight. So when when you have cans, it's heavy. But this is very light, and you can store a lot of it in a smaller space. Also, it can be, you can crush this into a powder, but when you rehydrate it, if you just leave that soaking in water for a little bit, it's exactly like it was before it was dried. It's a chewy piece of meat again. And if you tried to break it apart with your fingers, it would just break apart like a normal piece of chicken. Black beans about to go in the freezer. Here they are frozen. Black beans after they're dry. So they kind of hold together in a group. You can see that you can pull clumps. And also an individual bean, it can be turned into dust in your fingers. Here's a 3-bean blend. Like the black beans, they kind of, well, these are separated more. All of them are able to just crush into dust. But if you rehydrate them, just like they are, they'll come out as a bean again. Here's some frozen soup. About to put it in the freeze dryer. It's Simply Campbell's chicken noodle. It's got less preservatives and things than what you would find in, well, no preservatives. But better than your normal chicken soup. We've done this once before, and we'll do it again. The soup came out really neat. Little crunchy squares, and so there's a carrot. Even the chicken is almost the same consistency as the carrot. And then these noodles, I ate one, and it's it's not like dry pasta. It's dry, but it's edible. It doesn't. It's not like uncooked pasta. And then we have the broth in between. Cool stuff. Roast beef. It's not the most beautiful roast beef. I think we used to get roast beef at Costco that looked a lot better than this. This is from Sam's. So there's nothing wrong with it. It's just not very pretty. Here's the roast beef after it's come out of the freeze dryer. I'm gonna try a piece. That is crunchy, like it was deep fried. This crumbles, but it really feels like it came out of a deep fryer. So this is not what it was like when I was doing Costco roast beef, but it tastes great. Strawberries. So some foods almost come out looking similar dried that they are before they're dried. Strawberries is not one of them. They do shrivel up, but you can see that they'll just break into a powder in your hands. That's the consistency. I almost describe everything like styrofoam. They're just like different kinds of styrofoam. It's funny. Doing 2 freezers full of peas right now. This one's done. Peas are a really cool food. They're like a bunch of little ball bearings, maybe like those little, they're kind of like airsoft pellets. They're hard, but yet you can still crush them. Kind of almost break apart into a powder. They still have that shell. Scooping them up and putting them in a bag. I lost one down there. If you've ever rehydrated dried peas, you know that it takes, just like beans, it takes hours and hours, maybe overnight. These peas, you can tell that you could just put them in with whatever you're cooking and they would just rehydrate as they cook. But it's really hard to tell if they would rehydrate in 10 minutes or if it would rehydrate in an hour without actually trying it. Throw in my oxygen absorber. Sealed it. I want to make sure it's extra sealed, so I do it twice. I put these peas in a little bit of water for about an hour, and they're just like a fresh pea, a room temperature fresh pea. Yeah. After about an hour, I'd say it's not 100% hydrated, but almost. Canned tomatoes. These are pretty unique. You see that they kind of glue themselves all together. And they're kind of just like they sound. Crunchy. Here's our frozen chili. About to go in the freeze dryer. This chili came out interesting. It's like a gigantic cookie.